Sometimes the best way to connect is from a distance. To feel seen but not crowded. Heard but not overwhelmed. So if you're like me, an introvert seeking comfort, peace, and the right vibe, you're in the perfect place. Hey guys, it's One Track Mind, and today we're diving into a list of the best games for introverts. Whether you're looking for quiet solitude, subtle connection, or just an escape into your own little world, this one's for you. So grab your blanket, settle in, and let's explore some games that truly understand our vibe. So far, this sounds like it was written by AI, but I swear it wasn't. I'm about to give you the most predictable list of all time, but it's all right. This video contains spoilers for several game franchises, and if you are sensitive to that sort of thing, I suggest you do not watch it at all, because I don't want to spoil what game franchises I'm going to mention. Before I do mention them, I'm going to put a timestamp here that will contain a list of game franchises I'm going to spoil there. You can skip, go look, and come back if you're still down. I know this is convoluted and possibly unprecedented, but what can I say? I'm a pioneer. Our first gaming franchise, to no one's surprise, is the Soulsborne series. The reason I chose these games is actually for an oft-overlooked feature. You ever been out on your adventure in Lordran, Yarnum, the Lands Between, or some other fantastic realm, role-playing as a literal nobody surrounded by mostly nobody of note, even by NPC standards? In fact, most NPCs in the Soulsborne series are actual failures that ultimately die, having not achieved any of their lofty dreams. A romantic fantasy we all revel in, I'm sure. And out of the corner of your eye comes a wisp, a transparent ghoul of sorts. Running past, sitting at a bonfire perhaps, delving into their own personal mischief. It inspires wonder and curiosity. Who was that? What were they up to? Were they like me? Do they feel what I feel? And before you can complete a coherent thought in your mind, they're gone. Off on their own adventure. You wish them well, don't you? You hope for them the best. Maybe you even fantasize about what trouble or triumph they might find themselves in. You look on them and say, go you. You have fun in your travels. I love that you're here. Or more precisely, I love that you're there. Out there somewhere. Experiencing things as you will. And that whatever it is you do, although I'm happy you're doing it, will not impact me whatsoever. I've just seen a fleeting glimpse of your existence. I'm glad for it, and now you're gone. And I'm free to wonder, where will you go, good friend? Will you be safe? Will you be well? We optimistically wish them success in the face of ominous resistance, and hope they do their best. But it's also not your burden to bear. It's theirs, from afar. From another world entirely. And that gentle wind, that slight graze as two separate but similar journeys brush up against each other in a chance encounter, is enough to fulfill our need to know that others are out there living their lives that we can project our goodwill onto. Now, this is a feature that is entirely unnecessary and effectively does nothing at all. There's no reward to be had by encountering another player's force ghost. No benefit. It is nothing. But I am convinced this feature has been implemented to satisfy that very special and unique need known only to folks like us who wish to connect and feel that they're a part of something greater than themselves, but who also wish to reserve investment, energy, and effort unless it's absolutely necessary. Like stopping to smell the roses, but without picking the roses and taking them home. The next series we'll talk about, to no one's surprise, is Final Fantasy. This, I admit, is included for pretty obvious reasons, but you're already here, so you may as well listen to why I think it matters to us. Now, please understand I'm an older gamer. I know kids these days love to mash buttons and can't pay attention unless all chaos is unfolding before their eyes on the screen. And I don't say that to minimize younger gamers' tastes in entertainment in the slightest bit. I think it's fine. And I am happy to allow everyone to like things from within whatever packaging and medium it may be delivered that resonates. The reason I say this is because back in the olden days, game developers had extremely restrictive limitations from behind which they needed to communicate an impactful story. And no developer came anywhere near close to tackling these obstacles like Squaresoft. Yes, I said Squaresoft. Square Enix is a company I'm not particularly fond of, but Squaresoft was a group of magical human beings that playfully imprinted wild visions, vivid dreams, and fantastic adventures into the very hearts of their fans. Have you ever played Chrono Trigger? Huh? How about Final Fantasy 4 and 6? What about Secret of Mana? Final Fantasy Tactics? I mean, the story on that game. Unbelievable. Especially the updated translation. Localization, I meant. What about Final Fantasy X? Front Mission 3? Any Front Mission fans out there? The point I'm driving to is, while squeezing out robust visuals and cinematic storytelling from the, at the time, limited hardware that was available, and I think they did so quite well, to be clear, the thing that made these games great was fantastic writing and fleshed out characters with character traits and problems and concerns and flaws that grew and changed and ultimately overcame their demons from within the context of the story you were actively consuming in real time. That's all well and good, but what's the difference when it comes to the perspective of the introverted gamer? In the beautifully crafted and robust settings of Final Fantasy, experienced through world building that rivals such lofty IPs as Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, in my opinion, you were not attached to a surrogate character to whom you were expected to imprint all your newfound wonderment and confusion, an increasingly popular trope in gaming and film that I really do not like. You took the reins of a character who was a person. In fact, you took the reins that determined the outcomes of the lives of many people that you got to know and love, or hate, over the course of 40 hours plus of gameplay. You met them as they were, joined them as they set out on their journey, and followed them through success, failure, love, loss, and ultimately confrontation with an antagonistic force that threatened the balance of the world they lived in. You move and choose and lead these people as they find themselves, as they learn things, as they are challenged, as their values and perspectives fade from view or are strengthened. You watch their resolve harden, and as their hopes are crushed beneath the weight of disappointment. This relates to us in our introverted energy because these are highs and lows, wins and losses that are not our own, but still feel real. We can pick and choose to like and dislike who we wish. We can disengage when we choose. We can root for who we want. And ultimately, these stories unfold passively. No effort on the player makes Locke fall in love with Celeste. No input is necessary to make Cecil turn to the light. Great moment, by the way. No output of energy is needed to make Yuna perform the sending. We all know how much I love that. They do so because it is in their nature to do so, and as the player, we are there to cheer them on or heckle and hate from a position of distant observation. Our power only lies in driving the story and deciding how we want the characters to interact with the game world in the context of combat. These games are not like Mass Effect or Skyrim. The characters carry on along their path of destiny with very few narrative choices made by the player. We're there to wish them well, or not, from a position of passivity and peace. Sometimes as introverts we want to express our frustrations, exact aggression, and relieve tension, but without visiting those desires on real people in our lives. This is why The Last of Us is a great series to get lost in. And by the way, this isn't me suggesting you live out fantasies of violence on virtual zombified punching bags. That's not healthy. What's wrong with you? Fix yourself. Seek therapy. This series is an opportunity to join people who have been through some really difficult life experiences and walk alongside them as they deal with the way those things can change people and affect their paths, values, and goals. Often as introverts, we take home our pain and process it alone, or dissociate entirely and shelve it for another day. This story explores what it is like to have no choice but to confront your pain and have it obstruct and threaten you on a near constant basis, with only brief respite until the next endeavor. You, as Ellie or Joel, must walk a harrowing path, be bombarded by daunting opposition, and exact violence and vengeance on those around you, be they human or clicker. We watch these characters suffer devastating tragedy, find beauty in very small and simple things, and traverse all manner of danger and threat. And while we sympathize with them and feel their pain and experience what they experience in real time, do you notice that I'm emphasizing that? Experiencing the story in real time, because writing, I'm not mad. I'm not jaded. I love movies. I love stories. Oh, I even say it in here. As good storytelling will force you to do, these are still people with their own problems separate from ours. Their stories are their own, and how they develop on an interpersonal level has nothing to do with the player. We guide them, we keep them alive, which no doubt instills a sense of pride and accomplishment, but we're not intimately involved in their human struggles. We watch them materialize upon a canvas of mayhem and chaos. We aim, we shoot, we scratch and fight to survive, and we can take very realistic ownership of that aspect of their story. But aside from survival, we do not have to take on their personal problems and decisions. Those are all their own. This allows us to have a very cathartic, while disconnected experience, and that can make us feel relieved. We are aiding Ellie or Joel as they exact their revenge, not ours. We help them survive. But their love, loss, happiness, sadness, these are all things we get to watch them work out on their own from a distance. We hope that they do work it all out. But as we do, we know that they will have to shoulder their own issues. And the context of our job as the player is largely devoid of investment in terms of emotion or accountability. And with how large and loud these things can be within our minds in real life, it's a relief to exact some revenge without having to risk harm on real people in our lives. This feels good and is powerful, and scratches an itch subconsciously that calls us to justice, something we know is rarely served. So it's nice to lend a hand to our fictional friends on their path to predetermined vindication. That way, we don't have to worry about it ourselves. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the next step in this line of logic we're on. We're moving on to being handed a degree of agency in the context of a story that has a predetermined outcome. In fact, a degree of agency is a bit of an understatement. As the player in RDR2, you're dropped in a world where you're filling a very real role among very real feeling characters, with personalities, goals, flaws, and problems of their own to overcome. And you take control of someone who is a very particular dude, who to most will have a very clear path and would make very predictable decisions based on who he seems to be. But control over everything outside of the main story is totally relinquished to the player early on, and Arthur's story is essentially your story. This is not a passive relationship. You and your decisions dictate Arthur's personality and who he turns out to be in the end. But the end is significant here because you only contribute to what he experiences in the end, and you have no control over what his ultimate fate turns out to be. Arthur, good or bad, for better or worse, remains true in his loyalty and commitment to his friends, and then dies on a cold mountain at the hands of one of the men he pledged his loyalty to, despite some very clear red flags and frankly obvious signs that foreshadowed what was to come. Arthur is doomed from the jump, and it's loyalty that does him in. Some may see this as admirable, and I am among those that see it that way. But for we who wish to hover over others and take in experiences in a passive way, but maybe are a bit more active in terms of exacting influence, this is a perfect fit. We are free to make Arthur an awful bastard if we choose to do so, or, through our guidance, he can be a saint who does no wrong. It's our choice. The most interesting thing about this is how effective it is. The main story of the game does not change. No matter what you do, no matter how evil or benevolent you want Arthur to be, he will still meet his end on that mountain. This gives us a very real feeling of control, while still maintaining distance and passivity to a degree. And that is a very unique and powerful experience for the introvert, who still cares to matter and cause change while remaining at a comfortable arm's length from the repercussions of their choices. This seems like irresponsibility more than introversion, but hey, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to comment on what the quality of your character is. I'm just here to make YouTube videos that you might watch. And you might like and subscribe to the video. That'd be lovely. Do so passively. Ask a friend to do it for you. Anyway, now, we all love to be thrilled, scared, and spooked. And we all love drama. But if you're like me, you like other people's drama. And offering your input in ways that may aid the subject of it while, perhaps secretly indulging in the tea. This is what Resident Evil is like. How is it like that, you ask? Well, continue to listen, dear friend. You have infallible, powerful characters in this game that are essentially part of a lineup of Capcom's Mary Sues. I'm thinking on it now, how many of Capcom's characters ever fail or make mistakes? Look at Ryu, Mega Man, Dante, other Ryu from Breath of Fire. Leon? Leon! Help! Leon! How was that? Tell me in the comments how that was. Yay. Good impression. Anyway, so we don't have to worry at all about moral choices or failure to live up to expectations, or about personal ambition or goals. Those are taken care of for us. But we do have to worry about zombies. Lots of zombies. And corporate greed and corruption, conspiracy, the implications of a militarized society, and assorted other large and global issues that we're definitely not really dealing with in real life at all. Expressed here not literally, but through metaphor, of course. Now, I don't know about you, but as a part-time introvert, I can't think of anything more attractive than getting lost by yourself in a mansion as an actual badass who is a good person, surrounded by impending danger and puzzles that require critical thinking. Talk about a way to intensely engage totally on your own, with a foundation of safety and nobility as the glue that binds all of the elements of passive stimulation together. You can roleplay in safety without having to worry much about your character or even whatever it is they're doing, and just confront the danger or cognitive obstacle from a totally disconnected perspective, able to enjoy purely the suspense distilled for you as you recline in your lazy boy from the comfort of your living room. Now that's good stuff. These games have all the charm and heart-pumping adrenaline of watching a horror movie with your partner. Except in this case, your partner is Jill Valentine. Or Chris Redfield. And you don't have to argue with her or him. You just have to keep her alive, or him, and make sure there's enough space in her or his pack for a save ribbon. That sounds easy enough. I could do that. As I've gotten older, I've come to love these games way more than I ever did, and love the remakes even more. Yes, even the RE3 remake. So, if you hate that game, we disagree. And let's fight about it, okay? I'll fight you. Comment below, I dare you. And we're going to talk about the RE4 remake later, so make sure you're subscribed. But Resident Evil is a natural choice and was the first franchise to come to mind, so I hope you agree. And if you don't already know, now you know. So give it a try. Now then, what do you think, dear viewer? Are these choices ones you'd welcome within your safe space? Or am I just making anxious small talk you'd like to avoid? Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is One Track Mind. You can follow me on IG, Twitch, and Twitter at One Track Mind TV. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. Was that all 5? No way. Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, The Last of Us, RDR, Resident Evil. Wow, that was all 5. Oh, wow, that was fast.